India, United Nations and world problems. The nature and functioning of Indian society and polity and the problems faced by our nation are explained in the earlier units. Understanding of India will not be the complete if we do not know the place it occupies in the world and the role it plays in the international affairs. There are about 191 member countries of the world in the United Nations. Like an individual, a nation too does not exist in isolation in the present-day world. Just as an individual develops only as a member of a larger group or society, a nation develops as a member of the world nations. India in the international arena. India began to play an effective role in world affairs after it had emerged as an independent sovereign nation. Independent India inherited a host of problems including border disputes and communal strife calling for immediate attention. It directs the state to strive for peaceful settlement of international disputes, respect for international law and treaty obligations, and maintain just and honorable relations between nations. Peace, equality, and freedom have been the goals of India in the international context. The first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, set the tone and the tenor of India's foreign policy. India's foreign policy. Foreign policy may be defined as a set of deliberately chosen guidelines for the protection and promotion of national interest to the maximum extent possible in the international arena. India had to shape its foreign policy in a world in which most countries of the world were polarized into two powerful rival blocs. One bloc included the Western countries, led by the United States of America. The second bloc comprised the socialist countries under the leadership of the Soviet Union, till recently. The rivalry between the two superpowers, namely the USA and the USSR, became a major factor in determining the foreign policy of other nations at that time. Refusal to align either with the communist bloc or the non-communist bloc and to pursue an independent foreign policy in the bipolar world was called the policy of non-alignment. As India fought against colonial rule and for freedom by 1947, it could not align with the Western bloc. Indian leaders were not completely in favor of the communist model. Secondly, India was highly dependent on Western powers for trade and foreign aid. Its objective was to promote friendly relations and cooperation among nations and to promote world peace. USSR under Stalin thought India was economically and politically linked to the Western countries. Despite the hostility from both the blocs, India steadfastly pursued its independent foreign policy. India's relations with the superpowers. The international system into which India entered as a sovereign nation was dominated by the United States and the former Soviet Union. They became superpowers by virtue of possessing vast economic, industrial, and military power. They also represented two conflicting ideologies, namely capitalism and socialism. India, as a developing nation, needed foreign capital and aid for its economic development. India and the United States. India's relation with the United States saw several ups and downs in the last 5 decades. Sometimes they were friendly and at other times they were unfriendly. The United States expected India to side with the Western bloc, whereas India pursued an independent foreign policy of non-alignment. However, when India and China went to war over the border issue in 1962, the US came to India's rescue by supplying arms. The US had maintained neutrality in the Indo-Pak War in 1965. But India and America held different views on several international issues. During 1967 war in West Asia, India supported the Arab countries against Israel, which was supported by America. Relations between the two countries soared owing to US arms supplies to Pakistan and the US intervention in Vietnam. Indo-Soviet relations in the past. They have been marked by stability and friendship. When India faced domestic and international crises, the former Soviet Union came to its help. The cooperation between India and former Soviet Union was not confined to political fields. It extends to economic, industrial, scientific, technological and cultural fields. The former Soviet Union built the first major steel plant in India. India and Commonwealth. Originally, Commonwealth was an association of countries which were once ruled by the British Crown. The 54-nation Commonwealth today has members located in all the continents of the world. Its member nations together account for over one-fourth of world's population. In 1983, the Commonwealth Summit was held in New Delhi. India and its neighbours. Some of India's neighbours are big countries such as China, Pakistan and Bangladesh, and some are smaller in size and population such as Nepal, Sri Lanka and Bhutan. The historical and economic links and cultural ties provide the basis for India's friendly relations with its neighbours. India and SAARC. The formation of regional blocs for the realization of political, economical and cultural goals has been a common feature. The formation of South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC, is also in the same direction. They included India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan and Maldives as its members. The objectives of the SAARC are to promote the welfare of the peoples of South Asia and to improve their quality of life, to achieve economic growth, social progress and cultural development of the region, to promote and strengthen collective self-reliance among the countries of South Asia and to contribute to the human resource development of the people, to contribute to mutual trust, understanding and appreciation of one another's problem, to promote active collaboration and mutual assistance in economic, social, cultural and technical fields. India's leading role in the Third World. The term Third World represents a large number of newly independent and developing nations of Asia, Africa and Latin America. They neither belong to the developed Western group, First World of Nations, nor the Socialist group, Second World. The idea of Third World gained currency since 1955.